Hello and welcome to I Heart Gardening. This is Nadine. Today's project is going to be creating a new perennial bed. And actually what I'm going to be doing is extending onto this one. I'm going to be taking up some grass. You can see a line there that I've drawn with a weed eater. And what I'm going to be doing is taking out this sod, lifting up some of these existing bricks right there. I'll be creating a new brick edge where I have this line drawn, and then planting it up with perennials that like wet, shady areas. So one of the main motivations for this project is the fact that I have so many mosquitoes that are breeding and living in this area. I have clay soil that does not drain well, and the grass gets long in here because it is kind of shady. So I've got so many mosquitoes that it's not fun for me to go get my water there. So I'm hoping with less grass and when I add some amendments to the soil it'll drain better and I'll have less mosquitoes and I'll also have more plants. So that's the fun part. So I think what I'll do is I'll show you step by step how this project goes, and I think the first thing I'll do is I'll have to take up those bricks and that sod, and then I'll turn the camera on again and show you what it looks like at that step. So this is kind of crazy. I have literally just gotten started and already I've discovered that these bricks I think might be cemented, and these were professionally installed, so that might be interesting for me to pull out. And the sod actually just pulled right back. I don't know if this sod is going to be this easy to pull out the whole way. I hope that it is. That'll save me a lot of work. But look at all these earthworms. Isn't that awesome? So I know I've got some good soil here. And then if I'm able just to pull this sod up like that, I think what I'll do is I'll just put it in my city's green disposal bin. And then maybe I'll try and rescue some worms and try and keep those. Okay, that part is done. So I managed to get the sod up. I dug it all up by hand and using a shovel. It ended up being pretty shallow rooted, so it was fairly easy to pick up, turn over, remove the excess sod and the earthworms. So doing this by hand for a small size bed was not too bad. This area is about 6 feet long by 2 feet wide. If you were doing a larger area, you might want to rent a sod cutter. But then pulling up the bricks, yeah, they were cemented together. So we'll see if I have enough bricks, because when I went brick shopping, I may have taken into consideration that I would be reusing these bricks, but at this point, that's not looking so good. So the next part that I need to do is I need to kind of trench this down there to make the area for the bricks to go. And I've got some edgers and spades for that job. And then once I get that dug, then I'll be laying down a layer of gravel mixed with sand they call road crush or rock crush. And then I'll be setting my bricks down on top of that. So I'll pick the camera up again when I'm at that point. Okay, that part's done. So what I ended up doing here is I edged the lawn, and then I used a flat spade to dig out the trench. So these are the tools I used here. This one is the edger. And you just step on that and it goes straight down. So I made an edge along here, and then when I dry fitted my bricks I found out I made my edge a little bit too sharp of an angle. So I'm going to soften that angle when I lay my bricks down. So I dry fitted my bricks. So it looks like I have enough bricks, which is good. And I also dry fitted my bricks to make sure I have them at the right height. So at this stage I want to have my bricks kind of level with the top of the grass, because the next step is to add the rock crush, maybe an inch or two, which will raise the bricks up, and then you compact them back down. So I did that over here. I have a little bit of previous experience with this. I did the edging on this bed here, and that was the method that I used. And a couple little things that I found I will have to do is when I'm tying in with this previous edging that was cemented down, I think I'm going to have to chip away that cement so that that edge is flat, so I can put my brick flat up against that. And the other thing is I'm actually going to start laying my bricks at this end, so I have a nice connection there. But then when I get over to this side, my last brick probably won't fit nicely against the fence, so I may need to cut a brick on that end. But we'll deal with that later. Next is to get the rock crush laid down. And I've brought my rock crush out here. I've got a 5-gallon pail of it. That's what it looks like. That 5-gallon pail is pretty heavy to carry, but I managed to do it with a wattle. And I just have a small car, so when I go to the landscape store, this is how I transport these materials back to my house, is in these 5-gallon pails. So I'll pause here and then get the rock crushed down and the bricks fitted in. Okay, bricks are in. So what I've done is I've laid down a layer of rock crush, and I used probably about 3/4 of the bucket to do that. I saved a little bit for leveling and to kind of backfill on the back edge. To get these bricks level, I walked on them a lot and then used the rubber mallet to whack them in place. So there was a lot of whacking that went on, and I think now I need a water break. I've been at this project for about 3 hours now, but yeah, it feels good. I'm getting towards the end. I actually don't enjoy landscaping at all. I just like planting, so we're getting there. And then at this end, turns out I didn't need to cut a brick at all. I was able to tuck a corner underneath the fence, so that was good. So the next step here now is to lay down some sand on top of these bricks and fill in all the cracks. So I've got my bucket of sand here. I have about half a bucket, so that should be enough. And then I'm just going to use that brush there to push the sand into all the cracks. And then once that part's done, then I can start working on the soil. So we'll see you then. Okay, it's starting to shape up. Sand is in and soil is level. And you can see here the length of the bed that I made. It comes to where this gate opens up actually. And I just wanted to mention too that these bricks are somewhat level with the ground, so the brick edging is not only to separate the grass from the plants, but also to create a nice space to mow the lawn, so I can run my lawnmower wheels on top of this brick edging and not hurt my plants. So next I've got some compost that I'm going to be adding, and I'm just going to spread it on top of the soil with a rake, and then I'll bring out the plants and we'll get to talk about the plants. At the start of this video, I think I said this was a wet, shady area, and I just wanted to explain a bit more about that. So this fence here, the flower bed is on the west side of the fence, but it's actually in between two houses and in between the house and the fence, so it's shaded most of the day. It does get some sun from on top of the gate, kind of late morning. And there is a slope here. I don't know if you can kind of see underneath the gate. The level is kind of going down this way, so water accumulates more towards the fence. And I know that about this area because I've tried planting things in here with limited success. I've had some issues with root rot, and you can see the sun is, well, the house is casting a shadow, so you can kind of see the area that's shade and sun, and this way it gets sunnier. So in this flower bed, I've just decided that I wanted to have kind of a pink and yellow theme. So that's what I've got for flowering plants in here. This potentilla I think is Pink Beauty. Actually, I just bought that heuchera. I think it's called Sunrise. And then going this way, I've got Campfire Rose that blooms pink and yellow. Well, the flowers start out yellow, fade to pink. A pink Creeping Phlox. I have another a rose. This one is John Davis. So I wanted to keep this whole area kind of pink and yellow. So this is the plants I have to work with. Some of them I had in other areas of my yard that I've dug up and brought them here. The ones that I know like the wet are the ferns and the astilbes. This one here is an ostrich fern. I had an ostrich fern on the other side of the house that made a couple of babies, so these are the two babies. I dug them up. I've got Japanese painted fern, but I don't know if I love this plant. Just the color of it, I'm not sure I'm going to keep it. I've got Lady's Mantle, which blooms yellow, and this one likes more sun, so I'll keep it on this side of the bed. I've got Hosta here, but I can't remember the name of it right now. I've got the take somewhere, I just couldn't find it. I'll maybe put it up later. This is the heuchera that was in the corner. I dug this up. This might be Amber Lady. I'm not 100% sure. And when I dug it up, I noticed that the roots were actually quite small on this one. So I'm hoping adding the compost is going to help with drainage, and I'm not going to have issues with root rot with these plants. And the rest of these plants are all new ones. So this was the fun part, is that I got to pick some plants that I've always wanted. I've always wanted a maidenhair fern. And that's that one, so I'm happy to have that. This one is a heucherella called Day Glow Pink. This one's a tiarella, and I have a tiarella in another area and I really like it. This one is Marshmallow Marigold, and it blooms yellow. And this is Heuchera Redstone Falls. And one is still be there called Visions. So I've just kind of laid these out that the taller plants are in the back row and the shorter plants are in the front row. So I'll lay these out in the bed, get them planted up. I'll add some bone meal and some slow release fertilizer, and then I'll show you the final product. This is a bit of a teaser because now I'm showing you a shady perennial bed on the other side of the house. This area is a little bit drier just because it's close up to the house, so it's on the high end of the slope. But I wanted to show you this ostrich fern. This is the mama fern here. So you can see what the babies on the other side will grow up to look like. And then I'll just give you a once over of these shade plants here because they're doing well so far. We're at the beginning of June and everything's growing really well. So this is it, all planted up. I'm pretty happy with that. I got them watered in. Everything's looking good. I think I'm especially loving this heuchera here. I'm loving the colors on that. And I think this bed does fall in with my pink and yellow theme. So just to show you, like I said, I watered this bed. Now I've got some standing water here. See how it just doesn't want to drain? When I was at the garden center the other day, I picked up a product that I thought might help with my mosquito problem called Mosquito Bits. Yeah, it was expensive, but I probably didn't need to buy a container that big. When I read the directions, it says I only need 1 teaspoon per 25 square feet, so I could probably just put a little sprinkle in here just to help with the mosquitoes. And there you have it. I think it's going to fit in very nicely. Thank you for joining me today on this adventure. I think I maybe spent about 4.5 hours working on this project, so I'm glad I got it done all in one day, because it's looking like the weather for the next few days is going to be rainy and cool, so that should be good weather for getting perennials established. Thanks again. We'll see you again next time. Bye bye.